Hey there, I'm Laura, a 35-year-old single mom doing my best to navigate this wild world. It's just me, my incredible 12-year-old daughter Emily, and our cozy little home in the suburbs. It may not be much, but it's ours. I work hard as a nurse, pulling crazy long shifts to keep food on the table and a roof over our heads. Emily is something special, smart as a whip and with a creative streak that runs a mile wide. She's got this head of curly hair that would make Rapunzel jealous, and she loves expressing herself through it. But then there's Gertrude, my ex-mother-in-law and the thorn in my side. She's a cranky 68-year-old widow who lives way too close for comfort. Sure, I appreciate the help with Emily after school, but that woman drives me up the wall. Laura, dear, don't you think Emily's hair is a bit wild? Gertrude's voice grates on my nerves as I'm rushing to get ready for work. I take a deep breath. It's just hair, Gertrude. She likes it that way. In my day, young ladies knew how to present themselves properly, she huffs. I bite my tongue, reminding myself that beggars can't be choosers when it comes to child care. Thank God for Sarah, my best friend and fellow nurse. She's my rock, always there to lend an ear or help out with Emily when Gertrude is being particularly insufferable. Girl, I don't know how you deal with that old bat. Sarah tells me over coffee one day. You've got the patience of a saint. I laugh. Trust me, it's wearing thin. Then there's Michael, my neighbor. He's a sweetheart, always offering to help with odd jobs around the house. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't noticed the way he looks at me, but after the mess with Emily's dad, I'm not exactly eager to jump back into the dating pool. Hey Laura, need a hand with that? Michael calls out as I struggle with some boxes in the driveway. Thanks, Michael, you're a lifesaver, I say, trying not to notice how his shirt hugs his arms as he lifts the heavy box. But life isn't all bad. Neighbors and cute handymen. The real drama is the constant tug-of-war between me and Gertrude over how to raise Emily. Emily, sit up straight. A lady doesn't slouch. Gertrude scolds during dinner one night. I see Emily's shoulders slump even more. Mom, do I have to listen to her? Just try your best, sweetie, I say, shooting Gertrude a look. We all have different ideas about what's important. Different ideas indeed, Gertrude mutters. If you just listen to me, Laura, that child wouldn't be running wild. I clench my fists under the table. Emily is not running wild. She's expressing herself, and I won't stifle that. Mark my words, Laura, without proper discipline, that girl will end up in trouble. As I watch Emily retreat to her room, her wild curls bouncing behind her, I can't help but wonder how long I can keep this delicate balance going. Something's got to give, and I've got a feeling it ain't going to be pretty when it does. I was dead on my feet after that extra shift at the hospital. All I wanted was to hug my baby girl and crash. But the moment I stepped through the door, I knew something was terribly wrong. Emily, sweetie, I'm home. I called out. No answer, just an eerie silence that made my skin crawl. I found her curled up in bed, sobbing. When she looked up at me, I nearly fainted. My beautiful girl's curls were gone, every last one. Her head was shaved clean. Mom. Emily wailed, throwing herself into my arms. Grandma. She did it while I was sleeping. I held her tight, my mind reeling. Shh, baby, it's okay. We'll fix this. But inside, I was seething. How dare that old witch do this to my child? I stormed into the living room where Gertrude sat, cool as a cucumber. What the hell did you do? I screamed. Gertrude didn't even flinch. I did what needed to be done. That child was becoming far too vain and disobedient. Vain? Disobedient? She's a 12-year-old girl. Precisely, and it's high time she learned some discipline. In my day. This isn't your day. I cut her off. This is assault. I'm calling the police. Gertrude scoffed. Don't be dramatic, Laura. I've put up with your lenient parenting long enough. Someone had to step in before Emily turned into a delinquent like her father. That's when I lost it. Get out of my house. Now. Gladly, Gertrude sneered. Mark my words, you'll regret not heeding my advice. That girl needs a firm hand, Gertrude snapped as she gathered her things. The full weight of what had just happened hit me like a ton of bricks, and I sank to the floor, tears streaming down my face. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. It was Michael, looking concerned. Laura, is everything okay? I heard shouting. One look at my face, and he knew it wasn't. What happened? He asked, his voice soft but urgent. I couldn't even speak. I just pointed toward Emily's room. When Michael saw her, his eyes widened in shock. Oh my God, who did this? Gertrude. I managed to choke out, my voice trembling with rage. His face hardened. That's it. I'm calling the police. No, Emily cried, her voice breaking. I don't want anyone to see me like this. I hugged her close, trying to comfort her. It's okay, baby. We don't have to do anything you're not comfortable with. Michael knelt beside us, his expression gentle. Is there anything I can do? Before I could answer, my phone rang. It was Sarah. Laura, what's going on? I got your missed call, and you sounded upset in the voicemail. I tried to explain through my sobs. That evil witch, Sarah exclaimed. I'm coming over right now. Within minutes, she burst through the door, arms laden with bags. Okay, I've got hats, scarves, and some cute pixie cut photos for inspiration. We're going to get through this, Emily managed a weak smile as Sarah worked her magic, trying to salvage what was left of her hair. While Sarah was busy, I filled Michael in on the whole sordid history with Gertrude. I can't believe I let that woman anywhere near Emily, I said, self-loathing creeping in. Michael squeezed my hand. This isn't your fault, Laura. You were just trying to provide for your daughter. He's right, Sarah chimed in. The only person to blame here is that old bat Gertrude. I nodded, but the guilt still gnawed at me. How could I have been so blind? As the night wore on, Emily finally fell into an exhausted sleep. Sarah and Michael insisted on staying, camping out in the living room. Lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, I made a vow. Gertrude would pay for what she'd done, one way or another. My baby girl deserved nothing less. The next few days were a blur of tears, anger, and sleepless nights. Emily refused to leave her room, let alone go to school. I called in sick, knowing my girl needed me more than ever. Sweetie, you can't hide forever, I said gently, sitting on the edge of her bed. I look like a freak, Mom, Emily sobbed. Everyone's going to laugh at me. My heart broke all over again. No, baby, you're beautiful inside and out. We'll get through this together. Our first stop was the police station, but it was a major letdown. I'm sorry, ma'am, but since there was no physical harm, this is a civil matter, the officer said, looking bored. No physical harm? I exploded. Look at my daughter. But rules were rules, apparently. So, next up was a lawyer. We can definitely pursue charges for emotional abuse, the lawyer explained, and sue for damages, but it won't be easy. I didn't care. I was out for blood. Sarah was a godsend through it all. She helped me document everything, photos, timelines, you name it. We're going to nail that old witch to the wall, Sarah declared as we worked. Meanwhile, Michael was working his own magic. I've got a buddy who specializes in family law, he told me. Top-notch guy, he's willing to take your case pro bono. I could have kissed him right then and there, but there was no time for that. Things were about to get even messier. It started with whispers at the grocery store, sidelong glances from neighbors. Then came the calls from distant relatives. Laura, is it true you've been neglecting Emily? My cousin asked. That's when I realized Gertrude was on the offensive. She's telling everyone I'm an unfit mother. I raged to Sarah and Michael. That witch is trying to turn everyone against me. But Gertrude had underestimated me. I started digging, calling up old babysitters, family friends, anyone who'd ever interacted with her and Emily. The stories that came out made my blood run cold. Grandma said if I told you, she'd send me away to boarding school, Emily confessed one night, tears streaming down her face. She used to lock me in the closet when I misbehaved. I held her close, fury and guilt warring inside me. How had I missed this? It's not your fault, sweetie, I assured her. But I promise you, Grandma will never hurt you again. With Sarah and Michael's help, we hashed a plan. Hidden cameras went up around the house. We coached Emily on how to safely gather evidence if Gertrude tried to contact her. Remember, kiddo, Michael said, showing Emily how to use the voice recorder on her phone. If Grandma calls or comes over, you hit this button right away. Emily nodded solemnly. I won't let you down, Mom. You can never let me down, baby, I said, hugging her tight. We're in this together. As we finalized our preparations, a grim determination settled over me. Gertrude thought she could bully and manipulate her way to victory, but she had no idea what was coming. This mama bear was ready to fight, and I wasn't about to lose. All right, team, I said, looking at Sarah and Michael. Let's take this witch down. The trap was set. Now all we had to do was wait for Gertrude to make her move. And when she did, we'd be ready. The day of the trial arrived, and I felt like I was going to puke. Emily squeezed my hand as we walked into the courtroom. "You got this, Mom," she whispered. Our lawyer presented the mountain of evidence we collected. The hidden camera footage was damning, showing Gertrude barging into our home, screaming threats at Emily. "You ungrateful little brat." Gertrude's voice echoed in the courtroom. "I'll teach you to disobey me." I saw the judge's face darken, but that was just the beginning. One by one, witnesses took the stand. Former babysitters, family friends, even Emily's old piano teacher. They all had stories of Gertrude's cruelty. She told me if I didn't make Emily practice for 3 hours a day, she'd have me fired. The piano teacher testified. But the real kicker was Emily's testimony. My brave girl stood up there, her voice shaking but determined. Grandma said if I ever told Mom what she did, she'd make sure I was taken away. Emily said, her eyes welling up with tears. I couldn't hold back my own tears. How had I not seen this? Gertrude's lawyer tried to paint her as a concerned grandmother, but it was too late. The truth was out. When the judge announced his decision, I nearly collapsed with relief. "This court grants a permanent restraining order against the defendant," he declared. Furthermore, significant damages are awarded for the plaintiff's therapy and emotional distress. We'd won. Gertrude was out of our lives for good. Outside the courtroom, Gertrude approached us, tears in her eyes. "Laura, Emily, I'm so sorry," she started. I cut her off coldly. "Save it, Gertrude. You're dead to us." As we walked away, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. The next few months were tough, but we got through it together. Emily started therapy, slowly coming out of her shell. One night, as we sat around the dinner table with Sarah and Michael, Emily made an announcement. "I want to donate the money from the lawsuit," she said, her voice steady, "to help other kids like me." I couldn't have been prouder. As for me and Michael, well, let's just say he became a permanent fixture in our lives. His steady support through everything meant the world to us. The real turning point came about 6 months after the trial. Emily and I were at the hair salon, and for the first time since the incident, she was excited about her hair. "What do you think about purple streaks, Mom?" she asked, her eyes shining. I grinned. "I think purple streaks sound awesome, baby." As the stylist worked her magic, I caught Emily's eye in the mirror. She was smiling, really smiling, for the first time in months. "You know what, Mom," she said. "I think we're going to be okay." I squeezed her hand. "Yeah, baby, we're going to be just fine." Looking at my daughter, her new bold hairstyle a testament to her resilience, I knew we'd come out the other side stronger than ever. Gertrude had tried to break us, but she only made us unbreakable. As we left the salon, heads held high, I realized something important. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about living well on your own terms. And that's exactly what we intended to do. If you were in Laura's shoes, would you ever consider forgiving Gertrude for her actions, or do you believe some betrayals are truly unforgivable?